Welcome to Cardano for Everyone, a podcast series from Pasta Steak Pool. Each episode explores something new about Cardano in a way that's simple and accessible for everyone. In the mood for some Cardano magic? Let's get started.
Welcome to our deep dive into Plutus. You want to understand this fascinating smart contract language on Cardano. So we're going to unpack its history, its key features, and we'll even touch on some of the technical concept. So first things first, what exactly is Plutus?
It's specifically designed for building smart contracts on the Cardano blockchain. Think of it like this. It's the toolbox that allows developers to write the rules and the logic that govern how these contracts execute and interact with each other.
So Plutus is essentially a product of Input-Output Global,
Yes.
or IOG as it's known, the company co-founded by Charles Hoskinson.
Plutus really embodies that innovative spirit of Cardano. It's not just about facilitating transactions, right? It's about building this new generation of decentralized applications that can revolutionize how we interact with technology.
That's what has me so intrigued. It's like we're looking at the blueprints of a new digital world. So where do we even begin with understanding Plutus?
Well, a great starting point is understanding that Cardano uses this unique model called extended UTXO, or EUTXO for short. This sets it apart from platforms like Ethereum, which, rely on an account-based system.
Okay, EUTXO, I've heard the term before. But to be honest, I'm still a bit fuzzy on what it actually means.
Think of it this way. In a traditional account-based system, each user has an account with a balance, and transactions involve updating these balances. But EUTXO, on the other hand, is like a system of sealed boxes, each containing a specific value.
Sealed boxes. Okay, that's a bit more visual.
So when you make a transaction, instead of updating a central ledger, you're essentially creating new sealed boxes with the remaining value. These new boxes then become the inputs for future transactions.
So instead of looking at how much money is in an account, we're tracking what goes into and comes out of each transaction.
Precisely.
So each transaction creates a new state with these boxes, rather than just modifying a running balance.
EUTXO empowers Plutus to handle much more complex logic at output addresses. Plus, it allows us to include custom data in transaction outputs, opening up a world of possibilities for innovative applications.
So how does this EUTXO model relate to Plutus and its capabilities?
This system allows for parallel transaction processing, which is absolutely crucial for scalability, since each transaction only depends on the specific boxes it's using. Multiple transactions can be validated simultaneously without interfering with each other. And what's fascinating is that Plutus is built on Haskell. It's a programming language renowned for its security and reliability.
I've heard Haskell described as a very mathematically rigorous language. How does that make it a good fit for the blockchain world?
Well, you see, this mathematical rigor, it translates into code that is exceptionally predictable and less prone to errors. And you have to remember, smart contracts often handle valuable transactions and sensitive data, so the reliability offered by Haskell is a huge asset in this context.
That makes a lot of sense. Security is paramount when we're talking about things like digital assets and financial applications.
And Plutus leverages Haskell's strengths to create a robust and secure environment for building these applications. One area where Plutus is making a significant impact is decentralized finance, or DeFi.
Now, DeFi is a term I hear thrown around a lot these days. Can you explain it in simple terms for our listeners?
Think of DeFi as a way to recreate traditional financial services like lending, or borrowing, and trading, but without the need for intermediaries like banks.
Oh, it's about empowering individuals and giving them more control over their finances.
And Plutus provides the tools and security needed to build these decentralized financial applications on Cardano. For example, we're seeing the emergence of decentralized lending platforms where users can borrow and lend cryptocurrencies directly with each other.
That's fascinating. So instead of going through a bank, I could lend my crypto to someone else and earn interest.
And because these platforms are built on smart contracts, the entire process is automated, transparent, and secure.
Sounds like a much more efficient and equitable way to handle financial transactions.
That's the idea behind DeFi. And Plutus is playing a key role in bringing this vision to life on Cardano. It goes beyond just finance, right? Enabling the development of secure voting systems, even decentralized identity solutions. The possibilities are vast.
That's pretty remarkable. So Plutus was designed to be this versatile tool from the outset.
Like any good technology, Plutus has evolved over time. It was officially introduced on September 12, 2021, as part of Cardano's Alonzo upgrade. This marked a significant milestone in Cardano's journey. This was when smart contract functionality became a reality on Cardano.
Yeah, I remember that being a big moment for the Cardano community. It felt like a real leap forward. But Plutus didn't just stop there.
Fast forward to September 2022, and we witnessed the arrival of Plutus V2 with the Vassal hard fork.
Now, for those who might not be familiar with blockchain, what exactly is a hard fork?
It's essentially a major upgrade to the blockchain's protocol, requiring all participants to adopt the new rules. Think of it as a collective leap forward where everyone agrees to use the latest and greatest version of the software. And in the case of Plutus V2, these improvements were focused on enhancing performance and usability for developers.
What kind of specific improvements did V2 bring?
Plutus scripts became more efficient, execution costs were reduced, and developers were given a whole set of new tools and features to make their lives easier.
That's a great progression.
And then in February 2024, Plutus V3 was released on Cardano's test network.
Can you quickly explain what a testnet is?
It's essentially a separate blockchain used for testing and experimentation before new features or upgrades are deployed on the main network. Think of it as a staging ground where developers can try out their creations in a safe environment.
So it's like a dress rehearsal before the big opening night.
Precisely. And Plutus V3 had some significant advancements to showcase.
Tell us more about those advancements. What made V3 such a notable release?
Well, V3 expanded Plutus's capabilities in several key areas. First, it introduced advanced cryptographic primitives, allowing for more secure and complex applications.
Now, cryptography always sounds a bit mysterious to me. Can you break it down in simpler terms?
It's essentially the science of secure communication in the presence of adversaries. It's the backbone of blockchain security, ensuring that transactions are tamper-proof and that data is protected.
So it's all about building trust and security into the system.
Exactly. And V3's advancements in cryptography opened up a whole new world of possibilities for developers, especially in areas like privacy-enhancing technologies.
What other improvements did V3 bring?
Performance was another major focus. V3 significantly reduced script execution times, making dApps faster and more efficient. And finally, V3 enhanced cross-chain interoperability, which is crucial for Cardano's vision of a multi-chain future.
Multi-chain future. Can you elaborate on that?
Imagine a world where different blockchains can seamlessly communicate and interact with each other like a network of interconnected cities.
That would certainly make the blockchain ecosystem much more interconnected and versatile.
And Plutus V3 laid the groundwork for this future, allowing developers to build dApps that can bridge the gap between different blockchain platforms. This was a major leap forward, introducing advanced cryptography and even greater efficiency in script execution.
Wow, it sounds like with each version, they're refining Plutus to be even more powerful and versatile.
And with these advancements comes a wider range of possibilities for developers. We're seeing a whole ecosystem of tools and resources emerge around Plutus.
That's fascinating. So what are some of these tools that developers can leverage when working with Plutus?
Well, one notable resource is the Plutus Pioneer Program. It's an in-depth training program that guides developers through the intricacies of Plutus and EUTXO. It's like a boot camp for anyone serious about building on Cardano.
Especially given the complexity we've been discussing. Are there any other resources that stand out?
Absolutely. The Plutus Playground is a fantastic tool. It provides a virtual sandbox where developers can experiment with Plutus code without any real-world consequences. It's a safe space to learn, test, and refine their skills.
So it's like a training ground for aspiring Plutus developers. That seems incredibly useful for getting started.
It is, and for those completely new to Haskell, there are even beginner-friendly Haskell courses available. These lay the groundwork for diving into Plutus. Cardano is committed to fostering a community of developers, and these resources play a big part in that.
It sounds like there's a comprehensive ecosystem in place to support anyone interested in Plutus, regardless of their starting point. Now, we've talked a lot about the technical details of Plutus, but I'm curious about how it actually works in practice. This whole concept of on-chain and off-chain code can be a bit confusing. Can you break that down for us?
Imagine a play with two stages. On-chain code is performed live on the Cardano blockchain, visible to everyone. It's secure, transparent, and immutable. Off-chain code, on the other hand, runs behind the scenes on the user's device. Think of it like this. When you order food online, you browse the menu, customize your order, input your information, all on the restaurant's website. That's like the off-chain part, happening on your device.
Okay, so it's all the user interaction and preparation. That happens before the actual transaction.
Then, once you hit place order, that information is sent to the restaurant's kitchen to be prepared and delivered. That's like the on-chain part, where the actual transaction is executed.
So the off-chain code handles the user interface and logic. while the on-chain code handles the secure execution of the transaction on the blockchain.
You got it. And this division of labor is crucial for scalability by keeping some of the computation off-chain. Plutus ensures that the Cardano network remains efficient, even as the number of transactions grows.
It's all about optimizing resources and streamlining the process. That makes a lot of sense.
And this brings us to another key aspect of Plutus: native tokens.
Okay, native tokens, I've heard a lot about them, especially in the context of NFTs.
Well, native tokens are essentially digital assets that are built directly into the Cardano blockchain, unlike other platforms, where tokens are often created using smart contracts. Cardano allows for the creation and management of tokens at the protocol level.
So they're integrated at a much deeper level, rather than being built on top of the system. What's the advantage of that?
This deep integration makes native tokens incredibly secure and efficient. Each token operates under a minting policy, which is a set of rules that define how and when tokens can be created or destroyed. This gives developers granular control over the life cycle of their tokens.
So it's like having a built-in blueprint for creating and managing these digital assets. Why is that so significant?
Well, it simplifies the process and significantly reduces the risk of vulnerabilities. By eliminating the need for complex smart contracts to manage tokens, Cardano enhances security and makes it easier for developers to work with these assets.
That makes sense, and I imagine this is particularly relevant for NFTs, which rely on the uniqueness and security of individual tokens.
You're exactly right. The combination of native token support and Plutus's powerful scripting capabilities makes Cardano an ideal platform for creating and managing NFTs.
This has been an incredibly enlightening look into the foundation and evolution of Plutus, from its roots in Haskell and EUTXO to its advancements in V2 and V3. But before we move on, I want to touch on one more concept that I find particularly intriguing: deterministic behavior. What exactly does that mean in the context of Plutus?
Deterministic behavior is a fundamental characteristic of Plutus that ensures predictability and reliability. It means that for a given set of inputs, a Plutus smart contract will always produce the same output, regardless of who executes it or when it's executed.
So it's like a mathematical equation. If you plug in the same numbers, you'll always get the same result.
This predictability is essential for building trust and transparency. Users can be confident that the code will execute as intended, and developers can rely on consistent behavior.
Deterministic behavior provides that level of assurance that things will work as expected.
And this is all made possible by the strong typing system of Haskell, which helps eliminate ambiguity. It highlights how Plutus is not just about building applications, but also about strengthening that core infrastructure of Cardano.
Speaking of evolution, we've been discussing Plutus in a broad sense, but I'd like to delve a bit deeper into one specific element: Plutus Core. Can you shed some light on what it is and why it's so important?
Plutus Core is essentially the heart of Cardano's smart contract execution. It's the scripting language that actually runs on the blockchain, implementing that EUTXO model we talked about earlier.
Okay, so it's like the engine that powers all those Plutus applications we've been discussing. But why is it separate from that Haskell code that developers write?
That's where the Plutus TX compiler comes in. Developers write their smart contracts in Haskell. Then the Plutus PX compiler translates this Haskell code into Plutus Core, which is optimized for execution on the Cardano blockchain.
So it's like a translator between the human world of developers and the machine world of the blockchain.
And within Plutus Core, there are two key types of scripts: validator scripts and minting policies.
Okay, let's break those down. What are validator scripts and how do they work?
Think of validator scripts as the gatekeepers of transactions on the Cardano blockchain. They define the conditions that must be met for a transaction to be considered valid.
Can you give me a concrete example of how a validator script might be used?
Certainly. Imagine you're building a decentralized marketplace. A validator script could ensure that a buyer can only purchase an item if they have enough ADA in their wallet to cover the cost. So the script would check the buyer's balance and only allow the transaction to proceed if the funds are sufficient.
So validator scripts are all about ensuring that transactions adhere to specific rules and conditions. What about minting policies?
Minting policies are specifically designed to control the creation of native tokens. They define the rules for how new tokens can be minted, ensuring that the token supply is managed according to the desired specifications.
So if someone wants to create a new token on Cardano, they need to define a minting policy that governs its creation and distribution.
The minting policy acts like a blueprint, outlining the rules for how the token will behave and how it can be managed. This gives developers a lot of flexibility in designing tokens with specific properties and functionalities.
It sounds like validator scripts and minting policies are essential tools for ensuring security and control within the Plutus ecosystem.
And the fact that all these scripts are executed by the Cardano nodes during transaction validation provides an extra layer of security. It means that the rules are enforced consistently across the entire network.
It's like having a decentralized system of checks and balances to ensure that everything operates as intended.
Precisely. And this robust system is what enables Plutus to handle such a wide range of applications, from simple financial transactions to those complex decentralized organizations.
It's incredible how all these elements, from Haskell and EUTXO to native tokens and Plutus Core, work together to create such a powerful and flexible platform.
Yeah, it's been a dense but rewarding exploration, wouldn't you say? I mean, we've seen how Plutus is really pushing the boundaries of what's possible in the blockchain space.
Absolutely. We've touched upon some fairly technical concepts here, and it's clear that building on Plutus requires a certain level of expertise. How is Cardano addressing this challenge?
Well, Cardano is deeply committed to fostering a vibrant and inclusive developer community. They've invested heavily in educational resources, like that Plutus Pioneer program, which we talked about earlier. It provides comprehensive training and guidance.
For anyone serious about mastering Plutus, are there any other efforts underway to, make the technology more accessible?
Absolutely. The Plutus Playground, which we also discussed earlier, is another valuable tool for lowering that barrier to entry. It provides a safe and interactive environment for experimenting with Plutus code, allowing developers to learn and explore without any real-world risk.
It's encouraging to see that Cardano is actively working to make Plutus more approachable for a wider range of developers.
And these efforts are all part of Cardano's long-term vision for a decentralized future.
Speaking of the future, it's clear that Plutus has the potential to revolutionize a wide range of industries.
We can only imagine the innovative solutions that developers will come up with. The possibilities are truly limitless.
This has been a truly enlightening deep dive into the world of Plutus on Cardano. We've explored its technical intricacies, its real-world applications, and its potential to shape the future of decentralized technology.
It's been a pleasure diving into this with you. It's fascinating to see how Plutus is really pushing the boundaries of blockchain innovation.
And for our listeners, we hope this deep dive has given you a solid understanding of what makes Plutus so special and why it's generating so much excitement in the blockchain space.
And remember, the world of blockchain is constantly evolving. We encourage you to continue exploring, learning, and engaging with this transformative technology. Who knows what incredible innovations await us just around the corner.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into Plutus on Cardano. Until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep pushing the boundaries of what's possible.
Thank you for being part of Cardano for Everyone. We hope you gained something valuable from today's episode. If you'd like to support our mission of making Cardano knowledge accessible for all, consider selecting Pasta from the pool list when you delegate. Every bit of support helps us bring more content to listeners like you. Until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and we'll see you on the next episode.